I want to preface this with something I think you should know and I think will be useful. I have never studied ENFPs the way I like studying types, or the way I need to study types before I feel comfortable sharing information on them. That said, so many ENFPs have broken down the doors to my life fortress and sort of forced their way in via sheer force of will and autism and ADHD. I do feel comfortable sharing some observations on them. This meeting video won't be as comprehensive as I'd like, but I think it's comprehensive enough, especially considering the ENFP you'll meet, you probably won't meet. They'll meet you. And we'll talk about that. So, where do you go to meet ENFPs? Well, I think the first common misconception regarding intuitives versus sensors is people think sensors are all about the sensory. They're all about being in there and doing stuff. Common misconception, ENFPs, at least the ENFPs I've met and studied, have been universally always out and about, doing things, getting their hands dirty, meeting people in the process. ENFPs are always milling around doing something. So, when you're looking for a location to meet ENFPs, look for there's no good way to say this, but a place. Not just a place, but a place. Italicized. Like a vinyl shop, or a plant nursery, or a library. Not just a random location, but a place people go to do one specific thing. Because ENFPs, they have tertiary TE, meaning they feel very happy and relieved when they are doing stuff. And they like going out and doing stuff. And the ENFPs I've met in locations I've been doing stuff, online and offline. And the people I know who know ENFPs met their dear ENFPs while going to specific places to do specific things, specific interests, hobby shops, even music stores, not just vinyl shops, but places you can go and get your hands on things. ENFPs are very hands-on types. If you want to meet an ENFP in the wild, not just online, your best luck will be in a specific place for a specific thing suited to that ENFP's specific interest. They'll probably be there. So, now you are in this specific place, this specific hobby zone, or a chill zone, or a have fun zone. How do you identify an ENFP? Well, first and foremost, they will probably approach you first, if they think you're interesting. Maybe even not. In my experience, ENFPs will talk to just about anyone. Like anyone. Fucking anyone. At any time. About anything. And they'll just about get off on it. There's almost like a... You know when you lift weights a lot and you get done and you look at yourself in the mirror and like, God damn, I'm pumped. Dude, Jesus, look at this. That's like how ENFPs seem to approach socializing. Like they'll just talk to anyone and they'll get off on it. Just the fact that they're doing it. That might not be what's going through their head, but they will absolutely speak with anyone. But how do you make yourself noticeable to an ENFP? So, dress interestingly. And when I say interestingly, I don't just mean dress to stand out. I mean dress with specific icons. You're in a location which is tailored to a sort of interest or hobby. You need to clothe yourself according to your interests or hobbies. And you'll notice ENFPs generally do the same thing. Not always, not always, but I notice ENFPs like clothing themselves in their interests, like jewelry related to a certain show, or a band, or a religious belief, or shirts related to those same things. ENFPs seem really to like iconography. So if you clothe yourself in iconography and go to those sorts of places, even if your iconography doesn't suit the place or doesn't vice versa, you'll be like, you know the term the early bird gets the worm? Well, the ENFP is the bird, and you need to look like a nice juicy worm for their ADHD to flare up and go, oh shit, that's someone I can talk to about something. And then they'll swoop down and peck you up and probably corner you and talk to you for 30 minutes about some shit they've been thinking about for a while. So you're dressed according to your interests, you're in a place according to your interests, and someone energetic has approached you and started speaking with you. How do you know this person is an ENFP? Well, remember the ask questions, ask open-ended hypotheticals questions we mentioned in the Meeting INTPs video? Try something similar with this potential ENFP. Ask them a sort of open-ended question regarding either their interest, your interest, or the location, and leave it rather open-ended. And again, I haven't studied ENFPs as much as I have other types, but in my experience, ENFPs will always comment on and respond to your question, but then, before you can get another word in, they will circle the conversation around to what they want to talk about and what they want to tell you about, because they want to tell you about something. And then they'll just talk about that for a nice long while. That isn't a bad thing. If you're looking for people to meet, if you are an introvert trying to learn to socialize, ENFPs are a great starting point because they will do almost all the talking for you. And again, this doesn't account for all ENFPs, because while some ENFPs will be particularly interested in you, what you're all about, many will be very interested in what they're talking about, and they'll almost stumble over themselves trying to talk about the thing they want to talk about because they're excited to share it with you. You know you've met an ENFP when you struggle getting a word in edgewise, and when you do, they still manage to talk more somehow about what they're interested in. Again, God bless them. Body language. ENFPs are, in my experience, very expressive, very emotive. They'll talk with their hands. Above almost all other types, once they're rattling off about things they care about, they'll do that any eye movement thing. You know, where their eyes are darting around while they're looking for the exact points they want to make. Very expressive, very emotive. Like I said, kind of tripping over themselves talking about what they want to talk about. They get very excited. regarding their any in conversation, another way to identify them, they'll talk about 5 different things at once. And the way I notice ENTPs use any in conversation is ENTPs speak in parentheses. They'll start talking about one thing and then say, wait, I need to talk about this other thing. And then they'll open a parenthesis and start talking. And then they'll open up another parenthesis and start talking. And then they'll open up another parenthesis and start talking. But systematically, they will close each parenthesis and finish their whole train of thought. They'll have spoken about 5 different things contained in one thing. ENFPs, in their conversations, their conversation style, and maybe this is just because I'm a TI user, they'll talk about 5 different things and you won't exactly know how all those things relate. They do relate. They do. Otherwise they wouldn't be saying them, but far less organization on their I'm talking about this and now I'll start talking about this and now I'll start talking about this style. Very scatterbrained. In their heads they aren't scatterbrained. Outside, very scatterbrained. Super noticeable. Especially once their eyes start fucking darting everywhere. I mean, all NPs are like that. ENFPs are the eye darting type. Finally, 2 general different sorts of ENFPs. Grinders and artists. Now, one ENFP can be both. Their styles may be more of one or the other at different times, but the 2 sorts of INFPs I've identified have been grinders and artists. Grinders are the ENFPs who are TE heavy. You might mistake them, I often mistake them, from a distance for ENTJs or ESTJs, because they're always busy. Their hands are always moving, but it's always toward the grind, always toward chasing that bag. I knew an ENFP in my undergraduate degree. She made handmade candy cookie sweets bags and would sell them pretty much always. Sort of jarring, especially for a classroom environment, but she was making money. She was making money. She was also an artist, but I think she leaned more toward the I need to grind, I need to make money, I need to elevate myself type. Then you have the artist ENFPs. ENFPs who also have their hands milling around all the time, but they are expressing themselves sounds a bit reductive for what they're doing. They're experimenting. They are putting their hands on the world, they are trying things, they are doing things, they are putting in materials and seeing the results. What can I create with these things? What can I acquire to do more things? Usually these are to artistic ends. And again, grinders and artists, ENFPs, usually one and the same, but which do they prefer? Is it making money or making something important art-wise? One or the other. Generally they dress differently. Grinding type ENFPs will be rather businessy, but or will dress rather businessy, but in the way they dress businessy, it's, in my experience, exaggerated businessy. Like, I am dressing businessy to do business shit. Whereas someone who is naturally businessy will just, they'll just dress and be businessy. They won't put on a suit of armor to be businessy. And the artisty ENFPs will be more inclined toward the iconography thing. Why do businessy ENFPs need to wear such bombastic business attire? I don't know. But I have met two businessy, grindery ENFPs who made a point, or who made points, of wearing bright pink suits. Why? I have no idea. The male, I've met one particular male grindery ENFP who dressed like business casual, but made a point of the point was his shirt and any of his like accessories were associated with his past business successes. A little less flamboyant, but if someone's looking at your outfit, that's some shit that stands out and people will notice. I think that's a lot of FI and T and NE. So, in summary, you go to specific hobby, trade, or interest locations to meet ENFPs. You dress yourself in personalized or tailored to the hobby according to your interests iconography. You look for someone who does the same. They will probably approach you before you can even think to approach them. Their conversations will be rather excited. They'll talk a lot. They will address what you say, but they will loop conversations back into discussing what they're interested in. They'll speak about 5 things, and they won't use parentheses to organize things particularly well, but you can tell they are talking about the same thing. And they'll either be sort of bougie businessy, or, hey, have you ever heard of this band? But then you've actually never heard of this band. Types of things. And they're always doing stuff. Always doing stuff. Keep an eye out for them. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it, and I did. Again, disclaimer, I haven't studied ENFPs as thoroughly as I would other types. I have just met so many goddamned ENFPs in my life. It's like they show up and knock their way into your existence that I think I've gathered enough I can at least make a general meeting this type video on. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. What are your thoughts on ENFPs? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Have you met many? Are you an ENFP? Those are questions. But thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact. So much fun, in fact, you can plug it into your... You can plug your fun Ethernet into your wall fun thing. And by cable, upload and download all the fun you want. Because I haven't used an Ethernet cable in a long time, but now I'm using one. And it's pretty nice. But thanks again for watching the video, really. Oh, I already did that one. But that's so much fun we have on this channel. And I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.